train wreck over here. All right, at 8:05, 8:06 a.m., we're going to get started. So good morning. Welcome to your gentle flow and stretch. If you want to follow along on my Spotify playlist, I'm using Slowly on Dime. And today I'm going to say grab a couple of blocks if you want them. I'm going to use them. I did a run this morning and my knees were kind of bothering me, so I'm going to definitely, you'll see me taking care of my knees, being careful. And you should be doing all the time anyway, right? But especially when you feel anything that's kind of tweaky, all the weather change and all that, just, the body. So grab your props if you like that. And let's get started. Let's get started in a supported heroes today. So that could look like you sitting on your heels with your knees together and just sitting back. It could also be you sitting on one or two blocks, which is what I'm going to do. Divide out your feet. I'm going to stack my blocks up like this and then hug my inner heels towards the blocks. This is how I'm going to ground down today. I'm going to sit down. This is a gentle warming. Obviously, the closer your bottom is towards the heels or the ground, the more you're going to feel on the tops of your legs. With that being said, just because you're trying to stretch out your quads doesn't mean that you need to sit all the way down, right? It's going to pull at the tops of your knees if you're tight. It might feel uncomfortable in your hips. So pick that space that is really going to resonate with you where you can we're going to be here a couple of minutes, allowing yourself to drop in, to step out of your morning so far. I'm telling you, the mornings where I adhere to my routine and just things are the way they are, they typically go a lot smoother. And today with my little one not having school, it always just, you think it's going to be easier because we don't have to really do anything. But it's always harder, lemon harder. So take a few moments, find that space where you can just be. We've gotten to, well, if you're taking this on Friday, we've gotten to Friday. Roll your shoulders back and down. Draw the pit of your belly back very slightly. And then allow for your vertebra to stack one on top of the other like a staircase. And then your hands for a moment, take your fingers, your index and your middle finger pads, and move them to the very center part of your clavicle, right? So where your clavicle comes in towards the top of your sternum. And then draw your fingertips along the sternum, along your clavicles, your collarbones, and just feel a little bit of a separating, an expansion. And then let your fingertips come all the way out to the knots on the fronts of your shoulders and roll your shoulders open, back and down. And then once you're there, let your hands rest in your lap. Your chin is slightly lifted off of your chest, but you're not looking up. It's just a neutral spine. It has that natural curvature in your cervical spine. And if you feel comfortable closing down your eyes, I invite you to do so. Relax your brows, relax your jaw, wiggle it from side to side. And turn your focus to your breath. So your attention goes to the fact that you're breathing in. You know you're breathing in. And you're breathing out. And you know you're breathing out. Breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. And breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. Now from here, if your neck feels great today, you can follow me. If you're feeling any kind of stiffness in the sides of the neck, or you have like bulging discs or anything like that, degenerative discs, I want you to simply turn your face from side to side. Otherwise, you're here in center. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, tuck your chin towards the jugular notch. Allow for the back of your neck to open, Maybe right there around the tops of your traps, your upper back. Inhale here. And if it feels all right on the exhale, roll your right ear towards your right shoulder. Stretching through the left side of your neck. You can be still and just hang here, or play around with moving your chin up and down. See how that changes what's happening in the side of your neck. And then you'll find stillness. Let your chin tuck back down. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, take your left ear towards your left shoulder, your left clavicle. Be there. Shoulders back and down. Allow for your blades to slightly pin towards your upper back. Naturally opens up through your chest. And breathe there for a moment. And then you have this option to roll your forehead side to side or just be still. It's whatever feels best to you. And just allow for this to feel like a natural opening through your neck, settling into your practice. And then the next time you've evened out from side to side, go ahead and bring your chin back down and allow for the crown of your head to rise. Roll your shoulders back and down. Come forward, remove the blocks out from underneath you, slide them. I'm going to bring mine to the top of my mat. You can take them wherever you want. And then I'm actually going to have you come onto your back, right? So sit it down for a moment. Roll yourself down one vertebra at a time. And then hug your knees in towards your chest and let your knees rock side to side. Your upper back melts down into the ground. Good. And then right back into center. Let your feet come down to the ground. Cross your right ankle over your left knee, your left thigh. Take your right hand, press it gently in towards your right inner thigh so that the knee moves away from your torso. And feel the stretch and the opening around your right hip joint. Create as much space there as you can or as you want without creating pain or tension. There's no bracing or clenching. It's just some space. And then if and when you're ready, draw your left thigh in towards your chest. Interlace your fingers around your left hamstring. And nuzzle your right forearm into your right inner thigh. Let's just open up here. Baby flex to both feet. Take one more inhale here. On the exhale, let your left foot come down to the ground. Inhale, open your arms out to a T. And then on the exhale, drop your knees over to the left and turn your face to the right. So it's a spinal twist. Breathe. And then with your next inhale, come back through center. Let your low back come down to the ground. You might shift your hips slightly to the left. And on the exhale, drop your knees over to the right. So if the right heel on the outer left knee is too much, just drop your right foot to the ground and take a wide stance. Otherwise, it's a reclining deer pose, getting a stretch through your left side body. Ooh. Turn your face, maybe your left ear all the way to the ground. And then you inhale, come back through center, unravel, exhale, hug both knees and towards your chest. Rock it side to side. And then let your feet come back down to the ground, the left ankle over your right knee, your right thigh. Give your left foot a flex. And then slide your left palm towards your left inner thigh. Get that space around the hip joint first. So I got to move down in there with the heel of my palm and actually, for lack of a better word, like pull the flesh away, right, from the hip socket. It can get stuck and kind of bunched up down there. And even for me, who I'm pretty open hip-wise, all the musculature and the fascia around my hip does get tight. And then when you're ready, reclining pigeon. Draw your right thigh in towards your chest. Interlace your fingers around your hamstring or your shin. Clavicles open, heart open, back down, back of the skull to the ground, and your feet are slightly flexed. And you breathe. Your face is soft. And you're still breathing. One more inhale here. And then exhale, drop your right foot down to the ground. Open your arms out to a T. I'm going to shift my hips slightly to the left. Take an inhale. Ooh, and on the exhale, drop the knees to the right. Turn your face to the left and get your spinal twist. And on your inhale, slowly come back through center. Shift your hips slightly to the right. And then exhale, drop your knees over to the left for your reclining deer pose. Once more, if the left heel to the outside of the right knee is more than what you feel like doing today, just drop your foot down. It's all good. Maybe your right ear comes down to the ground, turning your face all the way to the right. And as you breathe in, you still know you're breathing in. And you breathe out, and you know you're breathing out. And then on your next inhale, gently draw back through center. Let your low back come down to the ground. Then exhale, hug both knees in towards your chest. Let your big toes come to touch and your hands come onto your kneecaps. Now, with the inhale, divide your knees, open them out. You're drawing circles. And then as you exhale, draw your knees back through center. So they're knee circles, but essentially it is a rotation of the ball and socket joint of your hip. And ideally feeling some opening up through your lumbar spine as well. The next time you come back through center, pause and then go in the opposite direction. It's typically the awkward direction because we go the easy route first. So it's okay if this rotation feels a little crunchy or weird. And then come right back into center. Hug your knees in towards your chest. If you like, roll your forehead up to your knees. And then let your upper back and your head come back down. Let's take spinal rocks, forward and backward. On the inhale, lift your hips, rock them back. And then as you exhale, round through your lower back so that you don't slap against the mat and bring it forward. So just getting the full length of your spine, rocking forward and backward. And then on your last one, we're going to meet in box pose. So shimmy yourself back to about midway on your mat. Stack your shoulders, stack your elbows, wrists. And then bring your knees underneath your hips. Spread your fingers out wide. And with your inhale, drop a soft belly down towards the ground. Lift your chin, lift your tail. And then exhale to reverse the movement. Dome out your upper back. Tuck your chin, drop the crown of your head down. Now inhale, roll back through your belly down, your heart forward. And exhale to reverse it. Drop your head down. Really separate out your shoulder blades. Let's take one more just like that. Inhale, find your cow pose. There's a sway to your low back. And then exhale, reverse it. Dome out your upper back, tuck your chin, tuck your tail. Inhale, come back into a neutral spine. And then exhale, pull your belly in and up. Now with your inhale, lengthen your right leg long behind you. And then lift it to about hip height. Pull the pit of your belly in and up. And then as you exhale, tuck your knee in towards your chin, your chest, your nose. Round through your upper back. Now stay for your inhale. On the exhale, cross your right leg in front of the left. Divide out your heels and sit yourself back down. Now you could sit on a block or you could sit all the way on the ground. You'll notice that your legs are crossed, right? I actually don't like it with a block, so I'm going to sit all the way on my bottom. So what you're coming into is a cross leg. If this is more than what you feel like doing, take your left leg out and extend it long. It's all good. It's perfect. And from here, your right hand comes from to the outside of your right hip. Use your right arm like a second spine. Inhale, lift your left arm up to the sky, lengthen it all. And then the exhale, twist over into your right leg. Now you can either hug your right leg in with your left elbow, or you can slide your left arm to the outside of your right thigh. Now with your inhale, lengthen, and on the exhale, twist a little bit more, maybe gaze over your right shoulder. It's just a seated twist, y'all. It was a funky way to get into it, right? That's it. And then on your inhale, turn your gaze forward. And then as you exhale, walk your hands over to the left. Now inhale, come right back into center. On the exhale, unravel your feet. Bring them about hip width distance apart. Your hands are behind your hips, fingertips towards you. Spread your fingers out wide. Now inhale, lift your hips up into the sky for a reverse tabletop. Open your chest to the ceiling. And then your head is just a natural extension of the spine. So no letting it hang back and down. Just look at the sky, at the ceiling. Lift your hips a little bit more. So it's knees, thighs, hips, chest. And then slowly sit yourself down. Cross your feet at the ankles if you like. Rock it back forward. And you're right back into your box pose. Now inhale, extend your left leg long behind you. Lift it up to about hip height. Dial your pinky toe down. Take an inhale. Press your left heel long and strong behind you. Exhale, bring your knee towards your chin, your chest, your nose. Round through your upper back. Stay for your inhale. And then as you exhale, cross your left leg over the right. Divide your feet out. And then sit yourself back down. Your left foot comes to the ground outside of your right knee or thigh. Again, you have the option to extend your right leg long if this is more than what your knees and your hips feel like doing. Left hand behind your left hip. It acts like a second spine with your arm. Inhale, reach your right arm high. Lengthen through your spine. And then exhale, twist over to the left. Option to either hug your left knee in towards your chest or to take your right elbow to the outside of your left knee or thigh. Now inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale to twist a little bit more. Gaze over your left shoulder or back. Good, y'all. On your inhale, turn your gaze forward. And then as you exhale, hands over to the right and get a little counter twist. Inhale, come back through center. And then exhale, divide your feet out. You're right back where we were. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Fingertips face towards your hips. Spread your fingers out wide. Now you're going to really feel your triceps here. Press your feet down. Inhale, lift your hips. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your gaze to the sky. Breathe. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, slowly sit yourself back down. This time, come forward, pass through your box pose. It's an inhale. And then curl up your toes, lift your hips up and back, and find your downward facing dog on the exhale. So create your inverted letter V shape with your body. Your hands are maybe about shoulder width distance apart, feet about hip width distance apart. And then your outer heels are kind of lining up with your pinky toes, right? More or less. It doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. Just giving you typical alignment so you kind of feel it out and see what works for you. Typical isn't always going to be the best thing for you. On your inhale, lift your heels. Take a very soft bend to your knees and gaze forward. And then as you exhale, step your feet to the top of your mat. Take your time. Leave them about hip width distance apart. Great spot to grab your blocks and place them at the top of your mat. On the inhale, lengthen your spine. Take the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back, your belly in and up. And then exhale, ragdoll. Soft bend to your knees. Drape your chest to your thighs. Grab opposite elbows. Let your head hang low. Sway it side to side, and then notice if you're rolling to the outer edges of your feet, and try to really press down through the medial arch as well. So your inner arch is just as important as your outer arch in supporting you. Let your head hang completely, relax your face. And then come back into center. Let your hands come down. On the inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, melt your chest to your thighs. And then inhale, roll all the way up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Taking your time, reach your arms out and up. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down to heart center, nice and slow. Inhale, circle your arms out and up. Reach like you mean it. Get as long as you can. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, chest to your thighs. Drop the crown of your head down. Inhale, lengthen halfway. And then exhale, hands down. Step your left foot to the back of your mat and soften your left knee down. Your right leg, 90-degree bend with your knee to your ankle. And then inhale, allow for your right foot to press down. But lift your chest, stack your shoulders over your hips, pull the pit of your belly in, and float your arms up overhead. Salamba Anjaneyasana. Stay right here for your exhale. Now with your inhale, reach a little bit higher. If it feels all right, your right hand grabs your left wrist, and on the exhale, hinge over to the right and feel the stretch through your left side ribs, your psoas, possibly around your left hip, right? But keep pressing down into the inner arch of your right foot. So watch if your right knee starts to splay open. Try to stack it on top of your shin, on top of your ankle. Maybe look up underneath your left tricep. And then inhale, come right back through center. Exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. Shift your hips back and straighten through your right leg. Let your right knee softly bend if you need it. It's completely up to you. But flex your toes back towards your shin. Move this coffee I'm not even drinking out of the way. And then your right hip draws back, your left hip forward. Think of clavicles towards your right ankle and navel towards your right thigh bone. And from here, stay with a long spine, but take your right toes down towards the ground. Stretch out the top of your right foot. And then float your right toes back up. Now curl your left toes underneath you. Take an inhale. Feel free to bring your blocks with you. On the exhale, if it's okay for your left knee, I want you to sit your hips back onto your left heel and stretch out your left foot. You might have to pull your left pinky toe out from underneath the fourth toe. It likes to hide there. You can have your blocks, not, whatever you need. If this feels all right, hinge at your right hip and take your heart forward. You might have to bend into the right knee, and that's all good. If you want a little bit more, you walk your hands forward. There's still an internal rotation happening with your right thigh bone and the hip socket. So if your right toes start to splay out, I want you to turn them back up to 12 o'clock. And when you're ready, nice and slow, press your hands down, and then inhale, lift yourself back up, walk yourself all the way forward, rebend your right knee, and then curl up your left toes. I'm going to slide the blocks a little bit farther away from me. Lift your left knee, step your right foot to the back of your mat, and then bring your knees down to the ground. Take an inhale, zip your navel to your spine. And then exhale, come all the way down to your belly. Untuck your toes. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest. Now exhale, tuck your toes underneath you and press your hips back towards your heels. So we're going to undulate through the spine. So I just want you to think of moving and not overthink it, right? On the inhale, lift your hips, round through your upper back, tuck your chin, shift yourself forward. And on the exhale, untuck your toes, bend your elbows, melt all the way down. Inhale to roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. And exhale, tuck your toes, take your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, lift your hips round, rocket fold. Exhale, untuck, bend your elbows, come softly down. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Exhale, tuck toe, child's pose, hips to your heels. and stay. You roll your forehead side to side if you like it. And then on your next inhale, slowly press up into your box pose, pull your belly in and up. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back and find downward facing dog. Drop the crown of your head down. And then inhale, lift your heels. And exhale, walk yourself to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, fold yourself down. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reach your arms out and up. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And then inhale, circle your arms out and up. And exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale, step your right foot back and soften your right knee down to the ground. Your left knee is a 90-degree bend, so stack it on top of your shin, on top of your ankle. Give yourself a moment, find your space, navel to your spine. Press your left foot down and then inhale, bring your shoulders over your hips, your arms up over your head. Breathe. Now with your inhale, reach your fingertips a little bit higher. If you feel stable and you feel all right, grab your left, circle your left fingers around your right wrist. Lift first, and then as you exhale, hinge over to the left. So you might take a slight tug of the pelvis so that you lengthen your tailbone down without compressing your low back, right? And then feel your bottom floating rib on the right side as it lifts up and away from the top of your hip bone. Breathe, but your face is soft. You're stable. Breath stays steady and even and deep. And then you inhale, reach both arms back up to the sky. And exhale, bring your hands down. Shift your hips back, straighten through the left leg if you got it. And flex your left toes back towards your shin. All right, so you could have a deeper, soft bend to your left knee here. You choose what you need. Open up through your chest. But remember, the more your navel slides towards your left thigh bone, the more the left hip will naturally pull back for you, the right hip forward. Take an inhale here. On the exhale, take your left toes down to the ground, or in that direction, right? They don't have to actually touch. Mine are not touching. Lift your left toes back up. Now curl up your right toes. If the top of your back foot is flat, go ahead and tuck your toes underneath you. If your right knee is supportive of this, take an inhale. And on the exhale, sit back and down onto your right heel. Nicely done. Now, if that's too much flexion for the right knee, skip it. Stay lifted. It's all good, y'all. You might have to reach back and catch your pinky toe, pull it out from underneath your fourth toe. Then take your heart forward, hinge at the left hip. But you don't want to feel this in your gluteal fold or in your left knee. So if you feel it in either of those places, take a bend into your left knee so that you release some of that tension and pressure out. Don't force your body into something it's not ready to do. And when you're ready, press your hands back down into the ground or into your blocks. Inhale, lift yourself up. Walk it back forward. Rebend your left knee. And then curl up your back toes. Lift your back knee. Step your front foot to the back of your mat. Soften your knees down to the ground. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, just come all the way down to your belly. Slide this out of the way as well. Now, once you're down on your belly, untuck your toes. Take your right arm out to the side body with your palm face down. And it's important that your right arm is at shoulder height, right? Otherwise, you might not feel this. And then your left hand comes underneath your left shoulder. Bend your left knee, press your left hand down, and then roll over your right arm. Let your left foot come to behind your right hamstring. And breathe. If it's available to you to reach your left hand back, you might clasp your hand. You might also begin to bend into your right knee as well and bring both feet to the floor, both knees bent. You could also rest your head on a block. We're going to come out the same way we came in. Slowly release the hands if they're clasped. Roll back onto your belly. Both frontal hip bones come down to the ground. Hands underneath your chest, and then just kind of wiggle your hips side to side. And then take your left arm, let's just do the other side. Take it out to hip height, to shoulder height. Palm face down to start. And then your right hand is just underneath your shoulder. Bend your right knee, press into your right palm, and then roll over your left arm. Starting off with just your left head down, your left ear, your left temple down in front of your chest. Your right knee is bent and your foot is somewhere behind your hamstring. If you want to move into a deeper variation, reach your right arm back, clasp hands, maybe. Feel it out, taking it one step at a time. And maybe you bend into your left knee. And your left foot comes to the ground as well. And then we slowly come out the same way we came in. Unravel, roll onto your belly. And if it feels good to clasp your hands at the small of your back and slide your fists towards your bottom. Open up through your chest. And then release. Let your hands come outside of your chest. Inhale, press up into or through a box pose. And then exhale, Balasana, child's pose. Take your hips towards your heels. Walk your arms forward. Let your forehead come down. All right, y'all. When you're ready, on the inhale, slowly press up into your box pose. And on the exhale, go ahead and press up into a quick downward facing dog. Find your inverted letter V. Lift the tail towards the sky. If you like pedaling out your feet, walking your dog, you can do that as well. And then on your inhale, float your right leg up to the sky. Find a three-leg dog. And exhale, step your right foot all the way through. Let your left heel go flat. Now on the inhale, windmill your arms open. Find a warrior two. So right knee, right toes towards the top of your mat, but your hips are opening up towards the long edge of your mat. You might have to lengthen your stance. We're not going to stay here super long, just long enough, but angle your left toes slightly inward or at least parallel to the long edge of your mat. Arms open out to a T, drishti towards your right fingertips or just beyond, so your gaze is important. And then inhale, flip your right palm, reverse your warrior. Take your right fingers all the way up and back so you get a stretch through the right side body. Take one more inhale here. On the exhale, straighten your right leg, bring your shoulders back over your hips. I shorten my stance pretty substantially. Inhale to bump your left hip back. Reach your right fingertips forward. And then as you exhale, drop your right hand down. Now you can have a block to the inside of your right foot if that would feel better to you. And then reach your left arm up to the sky. Gaze follows your left fingertips. Uddita Trikonasana, your extended triangle pose. Right knee, right toes are at 12 o'clock. I'm actually going to bring my left foot in a little bit more. And think of your torso stacking on top of your right thigh bone. Long through your side body. And then on your next inhale, rotate over your right leg. So it's like an airplane. And then as you exhale, take both hands to frame your front foot. I step my left foot over kind of significantly for pyramid pose. Let your right hip draw back, your left hip forward. Now, your hands can be on blocks. They can be down on the ground. You can have your blocks at any level that feels appropriate to you. You can shorten your stance, lengthen it. You could lift your right toes. Your left heel could be lifted. I don't care, right? Find that space that feels good to you, that stretches what you're trying to stretch. And then spin your navel towards your right thigh bone. Breathe. And then when you're ready, your left hand stays down on the inside of your right foot. Inhale to lengthen your spine first. Keep the crown, the sternum, the tailbone all in the same line. And then take your right arm up to the sky and get a twist. So now it's your twisted triangle. Stack your right shoulder, your right clavicle on top of the left. And your block might be on the highest level. And that's fine, y'all, right? You want to be twisting through your navel center. So it's your thoracic spine instead of your lumbar spine that takes the twist here. One more inhale. And then exhale, drop your right hand back down. On the inhale, re-bend into your right knee. Slide your left foot back. And then soften your left knee down. Stay for the inhale. And then exhale, heel toe your right foot all the way over and find your half pigeon. On the inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale to fold yourself down. You can make a little pillow with your hands, your forearms. Your right foot is slightly flexed. Relax your brows and your jaw. All right, y'all. Slide your hands back underneath your shoulders so that you can inhale, lift your chest, curl up your back toes, and lift your back knee. And then on the exhale, float your right leg up and back. You can bend your right knee, stack your hip, yawn it open. Find something that feels right. And then while meeting downward facing dog, inhale, float your left leg up to the sky. And exhale, step your left foot all the way through. Your right heel goes flat. And then inhale, windmill open, Virabhadrasana B, your warrior two. On the exhale, find your stance. Left knee tracks the heel or the ankle. Right toes angle slightly inward. Watching the left hip if it's dropping down. Relax your shoulders back and down. Open your arms out to a T. Gaze to your left fingertips. And then on your inhale, flip your left palm, reverse your warrior. Stretch through your left side body. Same thing. Feel the left side floating ribs lift up and away from the top of your left hip bone. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, straighten your left leg. I'm going to pull my right foot in slightly. And then bump your right hip back. Reach your left fingertips forward. And then exhale, drop your left hand down. Now your left hand can be on a block. It can be on the ground. Just make sure all of your weight's not pressing into the left hand. And then your right arm can reach high. Oh, goodness. Traditional drishti, you would follow your right hand. If that doesn't feel good in your cervical spine, just gaze to the right or look down. And then completely exhale. Inhale, airplane, rotate over your left leg. And then exhale, hands come down. I step my right foot over, create space for my hips. Pull my left hip back, right hip forward for pyramid pose. It's a stretch for the calf. Spin your navel towards your left thigh bone. Lengthen your spine. You can shorten your stance a lot if that feels better. I typically like a shorter stance here. That's just me. When you're ready, inhale, lengthen your spine. Your right hand stays down either on a block, whatever level, or on the ground. Your hips don't move, but your left shoulder and left clavicle stack on top of the right as you twist open towards the left side of the room. Breathe. One more inhale here. And then exhale, drop your left hand down. Inhale, bend into your left knee, step your right foot back. And then exhale, soften your right knee down. Stay for your inhale. And then exhale, heel toe your left foot over to the right side of your mat and come down into your half pigeon. Let your hips try to square off forward. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get there, ish. And then slide your heart forward. And then on the exhale, come down. You're more than welcome to do this from the back as well in a reclined variation, just like we did at the beginning of class. All right, you'll slide your hands back underneath your shoulders. To inhale, lift your chest. Curl up your back toes, lift your back knee. And then exhale, float your left leg up and back. You can open up the hips, circle it out, whatever you need. And we'll meet right back here in downward facing dog. And then slowly come down onto hands and knees. Cross your feet at the ankles, sit back on your heels. And then nice and slow, kind of shift yourself forward. If you have blocks today, I'm going to have you go ahead and set them up about hip width distance apart. You're going to, for Shavasana, right? You're going to rest your feet on your blocks. But so you don't need them yet, but kind of have them there so that you don't have to fumble around a lot once you're down on your back. And then roll down one vertebra at a time. And bring your feet about hip width distance apart. One bridge pose, hands down next to your hips. And then press your feet down and away from you as you lift your hips up into the sky. Internal rotation of your thigh bones. Fire up your quads, your inner thighs, your hamstrings. Just bridge your spine for a moment. One more inhale here. And then exhale to soften yourself down. Open your arms out to a T. Take a deep breath in. Walk your feet about mat's width distance apart. And then exhale, drop your knees to the right, turn your face to the left. And just be there for a moment for a twist. If you need a deeper spinal twist, stack your left leg on top of the right. It's all good. And then on your inhale, draw it back through center. And exhale, drop your knees to the left, turn your face to the right. And then on your next inhale, come back through center. As you exhale, hug your knees and towards your chest. You can rock it side to side. And then happy baby when you're ready. Grab onto the outer edges of your feet. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, hug your knees in one last time. Round your forehead up to your knees. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, extend your feet forward. Now allow for them to find your blocks. And let your feet hang comfortably open. Now, you don't necessarily want your calves to be on there unless that feels good to you. Might feel a little bit awkward for the knee. So if you have to push the blocks away for a moment, that's fine. And then let your heels, your ankles, your feet splay comfortably open, your arms out by the side, body palms face up, or your palms can be resting on your body somewhere, whatever feels right. Find your space. Close your eyes. And rest. If what you need is to be here a little bit longer, you can stay right where you are and just tune me out. Otherwise, begin to deepen your breath. So wiggle your fingers and your toes. And on your inhale, find a full body stretch. Reach your arms up overhead. You can arch your low back up and away from the mat. And on the exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your shin. And then rock over to the right. You could also roll straight up into your comfortable, easy sit, just right where you are. We're all going to meet there in Sukhasana, so just find that spot whenever you're ready. Your hands can rest in your lap, on your knees, or in Anjali Mudra at heart center. So we take that final moment, that pause, to be grateful for our bodies, for what they do for us today, to be hopeful for tomorrow. Thank you all so much, whatever time it is that you take this practice. I appreciate you spending time on your mat. Your self-care is a necessity, not a luxury. So have a great rest of your day, and namaste.